For years, Ruth Langsford and Eamonn Holmes were seen as one of television's most recognizable couples. Their chemistry, playful banter, and years of shared memories made audiences feel like they were watching more than just presenters on screen. To many fans, they represented comfort, familiarity, and the kind of long-lasting partnership people admired from afar. That's why recent headlines surrounding their separation captured so much attention. People weren't just reacting to celebrity news, they were reacting emotionally. And now, just when fans thought the story had already delivered enough surprises, Ruth Langsford has sparked even more conversation after teasing what many believe could become one of the most talked-about memoir releases in television history. The moment rumors began circulating about a possible tell-all book, social media exploded almost instantly. Fans started asking the same question over and over again: what will Ruth reveal? And honestly, that curiosity is exactly why the buzz keeps growing, because people feel connected to her story. For decades, Ruth built a reputation as someone warm, funny, relatable, and refreshingly honest. Whether she was hosting television shows, laughing through awkward live moments, or discussing everyday life with viewers, she created the impression of someone audiences genuinely understood. That connection matters, especially during emotional life changes. When news of her separation from Eamonn Holmes first became public, reactions poured in from everywhere. Some fans expressed sadness, others shared memories of watching the pair together over the years. Many simply hoped both stars would eventually find happiness moving forward. But amid all the headlines and speculation, Ruth herself remained relatively calm and composed publicly. That quiet strength impressed a lot of people. Instead of turning personal matters into dramatic public battles, she appeared focused on handling things with dignity. Of course, that didn't stop endless discussions online. Fans analyzed interviews, body language, social media posts, and even small comments, searching for clues about how she truly felt behind the scenes. And now the idea of a memoir has sent that curiosity into overdrive. Because memoirs are personal, they go beyond headlines. They reveal emotions, reflections, memories, heartbreak, humor, lessons, and hidden moments audiences never got to see. And if Ruth really decides to tell her story fully, fans believe the book could become absolutely fascinating. Not because people want scandal, but because people want honesty. That's the key difference. Ruth has always come across as authentic, and audiences trust authenticity more than polished celebrity perfection. People don't connect deeply with flawless public images anymore. They connect with vulnerability, resilience, humor, and real-life experiences. Ruth Langsford has always had those qualities. That's one reason the excitement surrounding her rumored memoir feels so intense. Viewers feel emotionally invested. Interestingly, fans have also noticed something different about Ruth lately. Despite going through a difficult public chapter, she appears more confident, stylish, and independent than ever before. Whether attending events, appearing on television, or interacting online, there's an energy around her that many supporters describe as empowering. One fan commented online, "She looks like someone stepping into a brand new chapter of her life." And honestly, many people agree. There's a sense that Ruth is rediscovering herself in a new way, not defined by headlines, not defined by relationship status, just Ruth. That personal transformation has become incredibly inspiring for many viewers, especially people navigating life changes of their own. Fans frequently mention how refreshing it feels to watch someone embrace change gracefully instead of pretending everything is perfect. And perhaps that's exactly why the memoir rumors hit such a nerve emotionally. People sense there's a meaningful story behind the headlines, a story about love, a story about growth, a story about reinvention, and maybe even a story about finding joy again after difficult moments.
Of course, the internet immediately began speculating about what the book could include. Some fans wondered if Ruth would discuss behind-the-scenes television moments from her long career. Others became curious about her relationship journey with Eamonn Holmes and whether she might finally address questions audiences have wondered about for years. But perhaps the most interesting reaction came from fans hoping the memoir would include humor alongside emotional reflection. Because if there's one thing Ruth has always been known for, it's her ability to laugh.
Even during awkward moments, even during stressful moments, even during complete live television chaos, that humor became one of her most lovable qualities over the years. Audiences never saw her as distant or overly polished. Instead, she felt relatable, like someone viewers could imagine sitting beside during a long conversation over coffee. That warmth helped build tremendous loyalty among fans, and now those same fans are eager to hear her story in her own words, without interruptions, without speculation, without tabloid noise, just honesty. Interestingly, many supporters believe the memoir could actually become empowering rather than dramatic. While celebrity books often focus heavily on controversy, viewers suspect Ruth may approach things differently. Based on her public personality, people imagine a balance of emotion, reflection, humor, and wisdom rather than bitterness. That possibility has made audiences even more curious, because stories about resilience often connect more deeply than stories about conflict, and Ruth's current public image feels centered around resilience. She appears calm, grounded, focused, and surprisingly optimistic. Some fans even joked online that Ruth's memoir could become impossible to put down because she probably remembers decades of hilarious television moments nobody else knows about. Others said they'd especially love stories about backstage mishaps, funny celebrity encounters, and moments viewers never saw happen off camera. Honestly, they may be right. After spending years in television, Ruth has likely witnessed enough unforgettable moments to fill several books, and fans would happily read every page. At the same time, many people believe the emotional side of the memoir is what would resonate most strongly. Public breakups always attract attention, but audiences seem especially interested in how Ruth navigated such a major life change while remaining under constant public scrutiny. That situation can't be easy. Every appearance gets analyzed, every comment gets interpreted, every smile gets discussed online. Yet somehow, Ruth has managed to maintain grace throughout the entire experience. That's something many fans deeply admire. There's also growing discussion about how this chapter may actually lead to exciting new opportunities for her career. Sometimes personal reinvention creates professional reinvention too. Audiences often become even more invested in public figures who openly embrace growth and change. And Ruth seems to be entering exactly that phase. Confident, independent, and completely unafraid to move forward. One thing viewers especially appreciate is that Ruth never appears desperate for sympathy. Instead, she comes across as someone handling life realistically, acknowledging change, while continuing to enjoy her career, friendships, and future opportunities. That balance feels refreshing, it feels mature, and it feels real. Naturally, discussions about Eamonn Holmes continue appearing alongside the memoir rumors, because fans spent so many years watching the pair together. Their relationship became deeply familiar to audiences, which explains why so many viewers reacted emotionally when news of the separation emerged. But increasingly, people seem focused less on the breakup itself and more on Ruth's future. That shift is important, because instead of seeing her only through the lens of a past relationship, audiences are beginning to celebrate her individuality again. And perhaps the memoir could reinforce that even further. A personal book gives someone the opportunity to define their own narrative instead of allowing headlines to define it for them. That's powerful. Fans also believe Ruth's storytelling style would probably feel warm, conversational, and funny rather than overly dramatic. She has a natural way of making people feel comfortable, and many viewers imagine reading her memoir would feel like listening to a close friend sharing life experiences honestly.
That emotional connection could make the book hugely successful, not because of scandal, but because of sincerity. And sincerity is becoming increasingly valuable in entertainment. People are tired of perfection. They want truth. They want humor. They want emotion. They want stories that feel human. Ruth Langsford seems perfectly positioned to deliver exactly that. As speculation grows, some fans are already predicting the memoir could become one of the biggest celebrity releases of the year. Social media discussions continue expanding, with viewers debating potential chapter topics, sharing favorite Ruth moments, and expressing excitement about hearing more of her personal journey. There's even a sense that audiences are rooting for her more strongly than ever before. Sometimes difficult public chapters unexpectedly strengthen a celebrity's connection with fans because people witness their humanity more clearly. That may be exactly what's happening here. Ruth no longer appears simply as a television presenter audiences watch occasionally. She feels relatable, resilient, and inspiring, especially to viewers navigating change in their own lives. One particularly popular comment online said, "I think people want to hear Ruth's story because she feels honest in a world where so much celebrity culture feels fake." That observation explains a lot. Authenticity creates loyalty, and Ruth has built years of goodwill with audiences because she rarely appears artificial. Even now, during a deeply personal transition, she still seems grounded and approachable. That quality is difficult to fake, and fans recognize it immediately. Of course, if the memoir truly happens, audiences will likely search every page for emotional revelations, humorous memories, and hidden insights about her life behind the scenes. But beyond the curiosity, there's also genuine support surrounding her. People want her to thrive, people want her happy, and people seem excited to watch her embrace this new phase of life. Whether the memoir becomes emotional, funny, reflective, or all three combined, one thing already feels certain. Fans are ready to listen. Because after years of seeing Ruth as part of a television duo, audiences are now becoming increasingly interested in Ruth's individual voice and perspective. And perhaps that's the most fascinating part of this entire story. What first began as headlines about separation is slowly transforming into something completely different, a story about reinvention, independence, confidence, and new beginnings. That evolution feels surprisingly uplifting, and viewers are clearly invested in where the journey leads next. As excitement continues growing around the rumored tell-all memoir, fans everywhere remain eager for answers. Will Ruth reveal emotional behind-the-scenes truths? Will she share untold television stories? Will the book include funny memories, heartfelt reflections, or life lessons learned through years in the spotlight? Maybe all of the above. And honestly, that possibility is exactly why people can't stop talking about it. Because beyond the headlines, audiences sense there's a deeply human story waiting to be told. A story about love, change, growth, laughter, heartbreak, strength, and perhaps most importantly, a story about finding yourself again. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Would you read Ruth Langsford's memoir if it's released? And what part of her journey